Hey all, another fascinating game today in the CCC11 semi-finals. This game was between Leela Chess 0, who's actually playing white, against Leelenstein, who's playing black. 30 minutes for both sides with a 5-second increment. And we all know about Leela Chess 0, but what about Leelenstein? Well, Leelenstein is actually also a neural network engine. It's based on Leela Chess 0, but instead of self-play, it uses a net trained on select high-level engine games. So it's called supervised learning. And I've seen a few games from Leelenstein. It's quite a strong engine. But in this game, I feel like the opening didn't help it too much. We've seen this opening before, actually. E4, E5, F4, E takes F4, knight to F3, H5, D4, and G5, and this is the end of the book, and we're into a King's Gambit accepted. In a previous game, I think it was Leela or Stockfish, they actually really dismantled this opening against black, and they actually sacrificed a piece, and this is what happens in this game. So Leela plays H4, trying to undermine this G5 pawn, and if black now played the move F6, I think white will just take and play bishop C4. And this king on E8 looks very weak and is very susceptible to an attack. Black's pawns are so far advanced that they're offering no protection to the king. So no engine would go in for that. So after H4, Leelenstein played G4, attacking the knight. And Leela played knight to G5. F6 attacks the knight. And here is where Leela sacrifices a piece for 2 pawns. She plays bishop takes F4. Now in a human game, I think most players would take this off. They play f takes g, bishop takes and bishop e7, and you have to ask the question where white's compensation is coming from. Well, I had to dig deep, but this is where it comes. So queen d2 is a must. After bishop takes g5, white should take with the h-pawn, and the point is that black's offering no defence to their own king. So the best move here is d6, trying to develop the bishop. And white should play bishop c4. This is the killer move that white needs to play in order to get an attack against the black king. If queen e7, then white should castle, and if black plays bishop to e6, white should play d5, and once the bishop drops back, they can actually afford to play the move e5. The point is, if black takes this with the queen, there's rook e1, pinning the queen to the king, and if d takes e5, white can play d6, and all of a sudden white's got a very nice attack. So the pawn's attacking the queen, and now 2 pieces are threatening to take on f7, and white will win the piece back. Back to the game. Leelenstein actually played the move d6, and after bishop c4, we actually transpose into the previous variation because black now takes the knight, the bishop recaptures, and black plays bishop to e7, white plays queen to d2. So we just went through the variation where black takes on g5, but Leelenstein in this position played the move g3. So it opens up their white squared bishop and sort of suffocates white's king side ever so slightly. So it stops the g-pawn connecting to the h-pawn and offers some space, maybe bishop g4 for the black bishop. Leela played knight c3, I think this is a good move, it develops a piece. So at this moment white's actually a piece down, but the compensation will come, you'll see. So bishop g4 from black, stopping white from castling queenside, so Leela's forced to castle kingside, but all of a sudden 2 pieces are converging on this f7 square with the bishop and the rook, and this is very dangerous for black. I think black played the correct move because bishop takes g5, eliminating another attacking piece for white. H takes g is played, obviously don't want to trade queens. Black played knight to e7, and Leela now continues her attack with rook to f7, and Leelenstein developed with knight to d7. I was thinking maybe rook f8 looks very natural for black, but actually this is terrible. If rook f8, there's rook takes, king takes, and rook f1, king e8 forced, and then g6. If black even captures this pawn, white will play queen h6, attacking the knight, and the rook and the bishop are all jumping in. The king is doomed in this position, so that's why rook f8 isn't played. Leelenstein played knight d7 in the game, and white connects her 2 rooks, rook af1, knight to b6 from Leelenstein, attacking the bishop on c4, and it gets dropped back to d3, Probably eyeing up the g6 square at some point. Maybe Leela's going to play e5 at some point. And Queen d7 is played by Leelenstein. And now it's probably do or die for white. They're a piece down, so they've got to do something to gain some sort of advantage. And Leela does this by playing the move g6. So the knight can't take because it's pinned against the rook. So this pretty much forces black to castle queenside and connect their two rooks together. And Leela plays queen to g5. So now Leela has an attack. They're attacking the knight on e7 with two pieces. Black defends, but this allows Leela to now push the pawn to g7. And this is a very dangerous pawn for black to deal with. If white can somehow get the moves e5 and bishop h7 in, they will be doing very well. Leelenstein played king b8 in the game. And Stockfish actually recommends quite a dangerous move here for white. They recommend the move knight to d5. The point is, if takes, there's e takes, and basically black is struggling for moves now. The bishop can't move anywhere, and it's forced to play rook c8 in this position because the knight's pinned as well. Here Leela could play bishop h7, preparing g8. If black defends with queen to d8, then they can play rook f8. And now they are preparing to play moves like g8, maybe even sacrifice a piece for the knight. If a6, Stockfish gives c3, king a7, rook takes rook, queen takes, and rook f8. And amazingly, Stockfish now gives the best move as knight to f5. And after sacrificing that queen with takes, there's rook takes, king f1 so it doesn't get mated, knight to e3, and white gives back the queen. But after rook takes, white can get another queen. And after a series of moves like check, king e1, bishop g4 check, king d2, rook e2, king d3, takes, bishop e4, rook takes b2. White's got an advantage in this position, but black also has quite dangerous tries. They've got two passed pawns, and I guess white's got to play really accurately in this position to stop black from promoting a queen. So this would have been a very interesting position. But in the game, knight d5 was not played. Leela played the move knight to e2 to reroute their knight round, and here Leelenstein played queen e6. But I think this was a mistake because now Leela just seemed to mop up everything. She played the move rook takes e7. So this gets rid of a guardian of g8. So the knight's no longer there. After rook takes e7, Leela played rook to f8. And it's inevitable now that g8 will be played. The point is that even if black plays rook e8 here, white's got the very nice move queen takes d8 with check. And once takes, knight to f8, there's a queen, takes, and white is actually just a clear rook up. So in the game after rook f8, Leelenstein took on f8, and white's recaptured, g takes f8, queen, rook e8 is forced, and then the queen f6 was played. And it feels like this is a game over already. A lot of moves were played after this though. So queen takes a2, knight takes g3, and after queen takes b2, I guess black does have an extra pawn, but white now has a queen for the rook. And after king h2, it feels like the king is very safe for white. Queen a1 was played, and white played e5, takes, queen a2, and white attacks the rook moves, and now there's queen g7. And basically white's plan is just to promote to another queen. After bishop e6, queen h6, a5, queen f6 attacking the bishop moves, and then Leela plays the move e6. After h4, white plays knight to e4. I'm playing through these moves very quickly because there's literally no real chance for black in this game. It's a foregone conclusion pretty much. So queen takes h3, bishop c6, e7, bishop d7. The queen's move a few times. So basically after a series of moves, Leela gets in prime position. Bishop c8, queen f7 attacking the rook, queen d6, and yeah, black's forced to give up the exchange. So takes, queen g3, blocks the check, queen e6, queen f8 and a3. and white gets the queen, and yet this is actually game over now. But amazingly, there's an extra 50 moves after this position. But we all know Leela likes to play with her food, so I'll just go through these really quickly. C3 Queen A5, and then slowly white just won another piece, took the knight, and now black's actually got 2 queens. But still, this is game over. So yeah, Leela just takes a while to seemingly devour her food. I'm playing through these very quickly. This should be an easy mate in less than 10 moves, but for some reason Leela's engine just likes to play through a lot of different variations. Eventually though, she just gets the checkmate, and there it is, Queen C2 checkmate on move 96. That was very unnecessary, but a great game nonetheless. But it was actually game over probably after this Queen E6 move. After Rook takes E7, this feels like it's a lost position for black. But again, the opening didn't really favour black at all. This is food and drink for Leela. She'll just easily win these type of positions. But anyway, I thought it was an interesting game, and I hope you enjoyed my analysis. If you've got a game that you want me to go through, then I'm happy to do that. If you just post in the comments below, or just drop me an email. It'd be great to analyse some games from the viewers. But if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, it helps a lot, and I'll hopefully see you in the next chess video. Bye for now.